All right.
All right.
This is Town of Monroe Board of Finance special meeting, Tuesday, April 19th. Time is 6:12. This meeting is being recorded and available to the public in compliance with state law. If you are attending remotely, please remember to mute your microphone unless you are speaking. Anyone participating remotely should state their name and title, if applicable, at the outset of each occasion that this person is speaking. All votes taken, which any member of the body are participating remotely, should be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. The chat feature will not be utilized or considered during this meeting. We'll do a roll call. Greg Benno.
Present.
Mary Hall.
Here.
Rebecca O'Donnell.
Here.
Steve Kirsch.
Present.
Myself, I don't think Dane's with us. And we're going to have first selectman, Ken Kellogg.
Here. I'm here.
We got Ron Bodofsky.
Here.
We got Heidi Mead. Heidi's on mute.
She is on. I think she's muted, Mike.
Perfect. No problem. We'll bother her when we need her. All right. So we are gonna hopefully finish up our budget tonight. Ken, there you go, Heidi. How are you? Okay, Ken shared with us some adjustments. I'm gonna have him walk us through those quickly. And then
Sure.
we can hopefully wrap up.
Everyone have a copy?
Yes.
Okay. So since we met last, we got a lot of new information, things that were under review got resolved. So obviously, meeting with Ron and Heidi, we kind of plowed through a lot of these, and the intent of just kind of presenting to you some proposed adjustments. And obviously happy to discuss these as we go along. But all in total, if you incorporate all of these changes, as well as the ones that you've already discussed and kind of agreed to in concept, the proposed, or I should say the projected mill rate increase will drop from 1.84% to 1.38%. So that's the net impact to all of this. So the first one is health insurance premiums. So we do not have a final answer from the state of Connecticut. They said that the new premiums will be published by the end of the week, which obviously doesn't do us a whole lot of good at this point. However, we've been in touch with our consultants, both the town side and the Board of Ed side, and the indications are that the premium increase may be as high as 10 to 11%, which is much higher than the 8% that the state advised us during the budget planning process. And that's the number that we utilized in preparing the budget. So given it's kind of unclear, and I know we need to act ideally tonight, the idea that we are proposing for you guys to consider is to increase the Board of Finance contingency line by another $350,000. That would bring the total to 600 if you would combine that with the energy related contingency that we talked about in a previous meeting. By doing that and adding it into contingency, if we don't need it, obviously it goes back into it doesn't get utilized. We'll talk about later how we would fund this through fund balance, but basically this allows us to kind of budget for the uncertainty, but as you go into the next, you really need to look at 1 and 2 in concert. Item 2 is to offset that increase, as well as another increase that I'll talk about in a moment, with a additional appropriation of fund balance. And that is specifically so that these become budget neutral because of the uncertainty. And we certainly don't want to increase the tax burden on something that we really don't have clarity on at this point. So the $350 for healthcare I've already talked about. Item 2 also recommends adding an additional $161,000 in fund balance appropriation to bring the total adjustment to 511,500, which would bring the total of this to 761,500 if you add the prior the things we've already discussed prior. So to explain the 161,500, we have been notified that we are going to receive, we've been awarded a federal grant for a project which would eliminate the need for the capital appropriation, the capital reserve appropriations for a few projects that total 161,500 on the Board of Ed side. We're fairly confident that we are going to get the federal grant, but it now comes with a lot of paperwork and another agency that's reviewing everything. And so as much as I want to not have this become a tax burden, because we are fairly confident we're getting a grant in, I don't want to simply eliminate the funding source, because if it doesn't come through, we still need to move forward on the project, right? This is laptops, Chromebooks, STEM lab improvements, stuff like that, right? So, Ron had the idea, which I agree with, is we keep the 161,500 in the capital reserve appropriation, so the funds are there, and we keep them in the budget, but we add the additional 161,500 and a fund balance appropriation so that it becomes offset by that equal amount. If we don't get the grant, the funds are there, we can continue the projects. If we do get the grant, we just simply don't use the capital reserve appropriation. And we also don't need the fund balance. The fund balance will just revert back. So I know that was kind of a lot and I kind of bounced around. Any questions on one or two?
No, that's good. I just wanted to pipe in on the health insurance.
Yeah.
We had discussed this early in the week, because what my experience is when we don't get a quick answer from the state, it's not a good answer. So I think, they're reviewing and going through it one more time, because it's not great right now. So I think this is prudent. I think it covers it on both sides, on the Board of Ed and the town side. And again, as we discussed at the last meeting, we've got the cushion in fund balance, so it's no issue. So I think it's the right way to handle it. It covers us on a contingency basis. And I think having a backstop on the project is a great idea. I mean, typically what we used to do is somebody would say we're getting a grant and we'd just book it and be done with it. And then sometimes it was years later before we got the money. So this is just, again, being prudent, having a backstop on it. I think it's a great approach.
Yeah, normally if this was, if we were 100% locked in, we would simply move the funding source from capital appropriation to grants and be done with it. But I'm a little bit, I'd like to have a little bit more certainty. And we're not going to have that before, there's no way we're going to have that. We thought we were at the end, and then, more paperwork, and another federal agency showed up with they're quite, it's like, it's the federal government. What do you expect? Right?
We understand. Yes.
So, all right.
So Mike, I've got a question while
Go
we're
ahead.
on too. I guess it's for Ron. So this equipment for the Board of Ed, is this stuff that was already identified, like in their capital plan
It's
or
in-
stuff?
it's in the
Yes,
capital,
it's,
It is stuff that's in their
yes,
capital.
there are a few items in there. It's laptops, Chromebooks, STEM lab projectors, and there's a
But it's stuff that was previously
desktops.
identified. It's not
Yes.
something new.
Yes.
Okay,
I mean,
Good.
we actually may be able to get a little bit more with the grant, but 161,500 is what is in the budget currently.
Good. Wonderful.
Awesome.
Mike, do we want to?
Mike, this is Mary. I have one question, okay? I'm a little unclear on the Board of Finance contingency, the adjustment of 350, but is the balance in the actual budget now for the contingency on the BOF line, is that $600,000 now?
Yeah, you want to,
Actually,
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Heidi, you want to bring it up?
Yeah,
Until
I
you have
bring
it
it
there?
up now. No, the adjustments, the Board of Finance's adjustments would total 600, but there was a number there when you got it from council, which is a little bit
Right.
less, it was like maybe 100 and, I think your total is going to be in like a 7 something.
7
now.
something, right.
If
But I'm sure Heidi can bring it up for us. There it is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a
Yeah,
combination of,
so
that's a combination of 1 and 2.
Plus,
sorry?
we had a contingency
Plus we
already
had
in there.
utilities, 250.
Right.
Right.
Right, because the Board of Finance original was 200 or, correct me if I'm wrong, and then we added $250,000 for the fuel, okay? And then all the rest of this will now take the BOF contingency to around 700,000.
Right, if you look at the screen, Heidi has it up on the screen, we started, we've added the 161.5 and the
She's
350.
she's on fund balance.
Yeah,
Heidi,
Heidi.
you're on fund balance.
Fund
Go
balance.
to,
If you could, yeah, contingency.
there you go.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, so it would go to 757.8.
Okay,
Right.
and if the healthcare comes in lower and we don't use the utilities, that money goes back into the unallocated fund.
Correct.
Yes.
It just reverts to, right.
I'm good.
Correct.
I'm good, Mike, thank you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
and
Steve, you
just
had
to-
a question too, I think?
Yeah, my question was just going to be, do you want motions for the record on 1 and 2? Or, I mean, I think
So-
we have to modify the,
So if I could just interject real quick. So
Sure.
what Heidi and Ron did was in anticipation of these, the motions that
They plugged it
they
in, right.
prepared, I think incorporate these.
Incorporate them, yes.
So to
Correct.
the extent you don't want to proceed with any of these, then we'll have to go back. But otherwise, I think your motions are okay, right?
Yep, exactly. The
ones that were
motions have
printed
this assumed in it, right?
Yeah.
So unless somebody's not comfortable with it, we can move
Yep.
forward with those in the motions.
okay, I
That
mean,
makes sense, Steve.
it does, there's part of me that says maybe what we ought to do is approve this whole thing as a package.
I certainly have no, I have no.
To formally modify what's been
I mean-
presented to us by council.
I mean, all of our adjustments are made in the budget doc, you know what I mean? We don't
right,
necessarily
that's
vote in
fine.
the adjustments. We typically just make the adjustments in the spreadsheet and then we approve each line.
Okay,
You approve the final number.
yeah, we
I
do.
mean,
Right.
That's,
You could do it either way.
okay,
Either way it would work, yeah.
fine, go ahead, Mike, fine.
No problem.
Okay.
All right, Ken, you want to keep going? You're on a roll.
Yep,
Yeah.
all right. Number 3. So number 3 is fairly straightforward. It's simply that I had increased and then the Board of Finance also increased an additional $50,000 to the town clerk revenue line, if you recall.
Yes.
However, we realized that we did not go back and adjust the corresponding expenditure side of that. So there is a cost of that. So if we're assuming that activity is
Correct.
going to increase and generate more revenue, there is an increase in the cost side of it as well. So this would increase that by 10%, $2,200. It's a small number, but still, I mean, that's
That
consistent.
makes, it's good logic. It's a good thing. We should have thought of it, but good thing you caught it,
Yep.
or finance
Yep.
did, whoever. gets credit for
Actually,
that one.
I will give credit to the town clerk, Vita thought. of it.
Even better. Perfect.
So, item 4, so this was one of the costs that we were going out and attempting to get new numbers on, but it was not ready in time for my budget proposal, was the service that we use that provides and cleans all the floor mats in our different town facilities. We were getting a price that was, a crazy increase. So we went out to other vendors. Long story short, we got a new vendor. We had multiple contracts they presented to council at the last meeting, which they approved. So there are reductions at all the facilities, which impact town hall, which also includes the police station, the library, and various facilities for Parks and Rec. Impacts those 3 line items totaling 3813. That would be a reduction from the current budget.
Okay.
Right, that's pretty easy. Item 5. So there's a couple of jobs that are or will be open that we're going to be recruiting new positions for, new people for. The first one is the animal control officer. In this case and the next case that I'll talk about, we have redone the job description, which has been approved by town council, so that this position will no longer be a sworn law enforcement officer. As a result, so they will not carry a firearm. They will have minimal enforcement duties specifically as relates to just animal control and not, the entire gamut of the penal code. So this position, one will have a new hire, which normally comes in at a lower pay level, but we're also lowering the pay grade for this position accordingly. So that is total savings between salary and overtime of the 17,811. Item
Ken,
si- yes.
Ken, this is Mary. So, what is the final number in the animal control officer job now? If it's
Heidi,
down
could you
the-
bring up the department line, please, on the screen? See if I can move this out of the way for you guys.
And you said, Ken, that the individual to be hired would not carry a firearm, so that is
Correct.
basically the reason. Okay.
Well,
What about
it's-
what happens? What happens if there's a animal loose and is running around wild? Blah blah. Does that officer now not have the authority to try to tame that animal with a gun? How would they tame it?
Well, I mean, they have various tools, you know, snares and different ways to kind of go after a roaming animal. I mean,
Would they
if-
be able to use the
if-
rifle in the truck?
I don't know. That would be a question I asked for the chief of police. If they did, it would be limited to that alone. But my guess is they would simply call for an officer to
Right.
dispatch the animal if it was something that they thought was rabid or a danger or something like that. Yeah, I mean, that would be fairly simple. And just to be clear, I mean, this is not simply not carrying a firearm. There's, you know,
No police power.
well, there's no police powers, no arrest powers in that regard. But more importantly, we don't have to send the academy for 6 months, which is a huge expense. And ongoing training to remain a post-certified officer is an incredible commitment of ongoing training, which, I mean, obviously they need to have ongoing training as relates to animal control, but you know, all the other stuff is, you know, it's a huge, it's really the training, not simply the carrying of the,
Okay, so then the 15,000, basically you're saying they would still carry some type of a equipment that could tame the animal, and that the 15,000 isn't related to the actual rifle arm or whatever. Is that correct?
the reduction in
Or-
pay grade is due to the fact that the position has significantly less. I mean, they have no police, and they're not gonna have police powers, so that is a significant reduction in training and responsibilities. And just so you know, this and the other one have been, I mean, this is a recommendation that is jointly made by our chief of police as well. And he also discussed this with the Board of Police Commission. So they are
Okay.
also
Perfect.
fully aware and had no objections.
Okay, great. Yeah, great, Ken.
And-
Thank you, because
and-
I
yeah.
was gonna ask that question next if the police
Beat you
department-
to it.
Quite-
Yeah,
quite
I know.
frank-
Yeah, I know. Okay,
Quite
thank you,
frankly,
Ken.
it is difficult to get seats at the police academy, and I don't believe we'd want to, you know, that's another.
Use it
another
up,
issue.
right.
Yeah, so, okay.
So
Okay
then
to go to
So
6
then
or
one
any
last
other?
thing.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry?
Heidi, what's the final
Oh.
cost of the animal control person?
Want to highlight it for
The
there?
salary?
She's called in.
Oh, she's called in,
Just
so,
50,000.
Just stated.
I can't really.
it's
read it.
in the,
50?
it's in the 50s.
It looks like 50.
I can't read it
So
from,
Mary, it looks
Isn't
like
it? No.
50,003,
no, that's,
oh, there we go,
Okay.
56,845.
Parks Ranger.
Okay,
56,
great. Thank you.
845.
okay.
Yep, thank you.
I think they're actually the same number.
They're,
Yeah.
one's $1 more.
Oh, is it?
Okay, go on to number 6.
You're on.
Okay, so this next position is the park ranger, which is currently vacant, and we are recruiting for a little bit more significant changes here. The first comment relative to being a sworn law enforcement officer is identical to animal control. So this position will no longer be a sworn law enforcement officer. So That is one of the issues here. The second thing is that this position is being moved out of the police department and into the Parks and Rec department. So the changes you see here, a lot of them are simply moving the exact same expense from police into Parks and Rec. So we're talking about vehicle expenses and OpEx. The salary and overtime reductions you see are similar to the same reasons that we talked about above. And then lastly, there is an increase at the bottom in Public Works under the tree warden operating expense line to address those functions that are not in the park ranger job description, but obviously are very important and we want to continue. And it really is more appropriate to be in the Public Works department where all this work should be coordinated anyway. And not in
Does that
Parks
mean
and
the
Rec.
tree warden, him or herself to be named, will do additional function?
I'm sorry?
This job responsibility that's no longer that's no longer in the park ranger is being moved into the tree warden?
So the park ranger historically had added responsibilities as a stipend that was not part of the job description. We're taking it out of the park ranger position. So we're putting it under Public Works, under OpEx. We're finding many other communities have a lot of different ways that they do that. Some of them are simply, contracting out, having on-call services. So we're exploring that right now. And we're fairly confident that with this number, we'll be able to meet or exceed what was being done.
Okay,
prior.
so it's a general operating expense item. It's not a
not a
tree
salary.
warden job description change.
Yeah, there is currently no job description for tree warden. It was a function that this person did with a stipend. Yes, yes. So we are doing that. This will provide us with the greatest flexibility. So there is an existing line for this, which has other stuff in it, and we're just increasing that so that we can get that work done, and we'll have flexibility in how we get it done.
Okay.
All right, does that
So
make sense? Yep.
Yeah, Ken, this is Mary again. So that $12,000 then is basically, as it's not salary, it's basically providing the cost of a third party to work on the trees?
It would be, and it's really not to work on, it's inspections, it's responding to complaints, it's identifying whether trees are, town trees versus private trees. The big one is really doing tree inspections and having someone who's qualified to say, yeah, this tree needs to come down, or no, it's healthy, it's okay, it just needs X, Y, and Z. It's coordinating with the utility companies because we try to work with them, because obviously the more that get pruned and taken down by Eversource are, that's, hey, it's
Free.
If it's something that they want, and why, might as well have them take care of it, right? So it's
Okay,
all
so
that kind of. I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'm going to ask the question. Is 12,000 enough for that third party activity?
Yeah, we believe so. There's a lot of communities that have actually a lot less than this allocated towards it. We think so, but we're certainly willing to monitor it. And you know what? One thing we've also discussed internally here is, if we really find that this just isn't cutting it, we can. There is one grant that we could go to supplement during the fiscal year if we had to before that, or we could also reallocate funds elsewhere if we really had to. But I think it's a pretty I think it's a very reasonable place to start out at based on kind of the analysis that we did. Our public works director looked at. Ron looked at a lot of the data as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really all over the map what towns do, but there are some that there's some that's far less than this. There's others that have a little bit more, but
The Newtown, for instance, which is a larger town. by
Newtown,
area.
which has a lot more trees, was at 15. I think Easton had what, 8?
They were less, I
8,000.
think it was 8, yeah.
Easton had 8,000 for those services. Yeah, so it's
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ken.
you're welcome.
So what happens to the people who are currently in these roles?
So the park ranger position is currently vacant.
It is.
Yes, due to a retirement. So we are recruiting for that. The animal control officer, the current incumbent, has submitted his resignation. So we are
So they're gonna be
recruiting.
open.
Yes, they will both be open. So the timing is right to
To make this
make these
change.
changes.
Okay.
All right,
All right,
good.
good.
Item 7 is simple. It's the benefits adjustments related to those items 5 and
Positions,
6. So the FICA Medicare is self-explanatory. The new positions will be under the 401A, so there's an increase there. The decrease will be realized in a reduced ADEC in your pension line in the future. Does that make sense?
Makes
All
sense.
right. And then last but not least is Justin, who I think is actually on the call as well remotely.
Hey, Justin. Hello.
So the Board of Assessment Appeals has completed their statutory duties as required. And so Justin has gone through and revised the grand list numbers in all the different categories that you see there, which obviously the grand list goes down slightly as a result of that. However, our contingency numbers in the mill rate calculation, which at the bottom, those also improve considerably as well, because we've eliminated considerable
The risk, right.
uncertainty there. So the net taxable grand list actually goes up at that point by about, a little bit less than 2 million, or maybe it's more like 1 million and, so, yep. So that obviously contributes significantly to a lower impact in the mill rate. Yep. So that's all I had for that. I had a couple updates for Steve, but other than that, that's it for this memo.
So Mike, if I can ask the first selectman to
Go
talk
for it.
about the roads and the
Yeah.
open question on what it might cost if we were to do a storm drain study, if they got a number.
Yep. So with the limited, limitability without doing a formal, right? So they went out and got a couple of kind of ballparks. From what Chris Nowacki and Bill Phillips told me, one of their contacts said, we really don't know. We've never heard of the town do that before. But they said it would be probably in the ballpark of $1 million. They went to VHB, which does our road analysis, and they said $3 million was likely. So
Ooh,
in order to do that, we really, so to move forward, we really can't continue to have conversations in a more detailed manner with any one vendor, because this would require a bid.
An RFP, right?
So I really can't
Mhm.
say, give me more details, right? So we'd have to put together a full bit, but they're like, this is, you're talking about a lot of work. That's that answer. The good news is VHB found in an old legacy system, 2010 data.
My Christmas came early.
Look at that.
You
Yes.
received.
So I have copies for anyone else who would like them. So this Chris Nowacki he literally got it. He said, I just want to spot check it since it's all and he said, yep, it makes sense. It's commensurate with what he would have expected. So he thinks it's good data. Apparently, like I said, this was in we kind of pushed him and said, come on, someone in there's got to be able
Dig
to,
it
I
up,
don't even know, I
exactly,
don't even
yeah,
know what
find it
format it was in,
somewhere.
but they were able to
Scrape it up.
extract into this PDF file. So
Fantastic.
you've got it.
So thank you very much, Ken,
Yeah, well.
and please thank Chris and Bill. This
will.
is greatly appreciated.
Yep.
We now actually can put this in a spreadsheet and we can
Mhm.
actually analyze our rate of decline since 2010. So I guess I have some work to do.
You do?
I do. This is,
You'll do it for a fraction of the price.
Exactly. Awesome.
yeah,
Great
I
job,
will do
Ken.
it
Thank
for a
you.
fraction of the price, but in all fairness, thank you very much. This is.
No, it's
This
great.
is a surprise. In light of the issue with the estimated cost, I do think we need to talk more, either a formal RFP, or we need to figure out how to get our folks enough time to do the
Yeah, I
analysis
mean,
in-house.
my thought was that we need to have a meeting in June
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
kind of our road meeting,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I think
and then
that's-
come up
So-
with a strategy, to cover all those things that we need answers on, and what, once they know, they'll then have everything they're working on, what they're working on. We can schedule the, upgraded evaluation, and then we can make kind of a plan for the next 6 months of where we're going to go.
Yeah, my biggest concern is we know, based on this budget and based on our 4-year cycle, we're going VHB. We'll be doing an analysis of our roads at the end of this
Correct.
construction cycle.
Correct.
And then they prepare a report, as they've done, in all the previous years. I would really like to have some better feel of us giving them data on the drainage, at least for our roads that we already know are in our worst shape, so that they can roll that into their
Well, I
analysis
think what I want
and
to do is
cost.
I want to ask Noaki to give us kind of an update when we sit down with him of, okay, give us a list of the worst roads, and then which ones do you know the drainage situation on, and which ones don't you? And just get an idea of how big of a problem we're looking at. And maybe we can do it on a smaller scale, or we can do something on a more manageable level.
Yep. Okay.
Awesome. Beautiful. All right, Ken. Anybody have anything else?
That's all I had.
Joe, I know was on the phone. I didn't know if I just wanted to make sure he didn't have anything creep up on us.
Nope, it was just the insurance piece that you guys already hit right in the beginning.
Great. Appreciate that, Joe. Appreciate all your work through the process.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else on the board? Anything else we want to go through before we hit motions?
I'm good, Mike. It's
All
Mary.
right.
I didn't
Rebecca,
have
anything on your side?
I
Okay.
didn't have
Greg?
anything, no.
Great.
Yeah, nothing.
Steve?
No, I'm
Beautiful.
good. Thank you.
All right. Steve, you want to lead us out?
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund revenue budget for a total property taxes of $84,947,495.
We have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Greg. Any discussion? So now that we just say if it's unanimous, we don't have to do roll call, right?
Correct.
As long as it's unanimous, you do not need to do a roll call.
So I'll just ask any objections. Hearing none, passes unanimous. Steve, you want to keep going, or should we go around? What do you want- just wanna do?
I'll do a few more. I'll
Do a few more.
You had a roll.
Then once you do a page, exactly, yeah.
Well, with
Well,
everybody.
not-
on the phone.
Right.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund revenue budget for total licenses and permits of $1,088,345.
Second,
Second.
Greg?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, unanimous. Thank you.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund revenue budget for a total intergovernmental revenue of $8,685,107.
Second, thank you, Greg. Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, unanimously passed.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund revenue budget for total charges for services of $900,200.
Second, Any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund revenue budget for total interest and dividends of $217,000.
Second,
Second.
in discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, it's approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund revenue budget for total other revenue of $75,000.
Second. Thank you, Greg. Any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 total general fund operating revenue of $95,913,147.
Second,
Second.
thank you, Greg. Any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund budget for total other financing sources of $810,000.
Second.
Greg, any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 total general fund revenue and other financing sources of $96,723,147.
Second.
Second, thank you, Greg. Any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, it's approved.
You want me to go? Okay. Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the first selectman of $210,945.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the town attorney, $260,500.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the town council of $4,700.
Second, Steve Kirsch.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the Board of Finance of $813,207.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the Registrar of Voters of $125,190.
Have a second?
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the town clerk of $199,807.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the tax collector of $205,131.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the treasurer of $12,365.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Any opposed? Approved.
All right, motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the boards and commissions of $9,170.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion?
All right. Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the senior center of $288,519.
Second, any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for Economic Development Department of $96,600.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for human resources of $5,765,026.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for finance of $341,805.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for information technology of $721,245.
We have a second.
Second. Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, good to go.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the assessors of $258,671.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for building of $207,358.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none. Approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for planning and zoning of $368,183.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
I'll do it.
Steve Kirsch, motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for town hall maintenance of $558,825.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for special programs of $152,000 and, $152,021.
Getting
Second.
tricky. Any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for regional programs of $57,921.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for police of $6,322,345.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the Monroe Fire Department of $283,394.
Second, any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the Stevenson Fire Department of $212,585.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the Stepney Fire Department of $285,827.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're good to go.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the fire hydrant service of $653,222.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the fire marshal of $113,747.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for emergency management of $29,795.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for EMS of $986,754.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for public works of $3,507,523.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for sanitation of $492,127.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the health department of $309,752.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for social services of $92,714.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the library of $896,286.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for parks and recreation of $1,011,156.
Steve Kirsch, second.
Motion to
Any
approve the 20.
discussion? Oop, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Any opposed? Yeah, we're getting anxious now. Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion sickness.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, that was worthy of your time.
That's good.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for the Board of Education of $64,444,666.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I think Greg, you actually said 440.
440,666.
There you go.
Second.
I second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, you're approved.
Is Mary saying something?
She was trying to second, but she
No, I
got
think-
beaten.
Oh, okay. I thought
I got second.
she.
I'm not hitting fast enough.
We're getting close.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for debt service of $5,643,808.
We have a second?
Second.
Second, Mary.
Any discussion?
Just go ahead and do it.
Hearing none. Any opposed? Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 general fund expenditure budget for total appropriations of $784,254.
A second?
Second, Mary.
There she is. Any discussion? Any opposed?
Mary's on the board.
Hearing none, we're approved.
Motion to approve the 2022-2023 total general fund operating expenditures of $96,723,147.
Second?
Steve Kirsch, second.
Thank you, Steve. Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none,
Greg, finish up.
approved.
Okay, capital budget. Motion to approve the 2022-2023 capital budget of $6,143,693 and the full capital budget and 5-year capital improvement plan as revised, and to have a complete copy of the 2022-2023 capital budget and 5-year capital improvement plan, CIP, incorporated into the minutes for this meeting.
Second, Steve Kirsch.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, we're done. All right. Thanks, guys.
Motion to adjourn.
Before you adjourn, a couple of housekeeping
Go ahead.
items. I just want to ask, I believe you have a regular meeting scheduled for later this week. Is that
We were gonna punt it. I talked to Heidi. Yes, we'll send it up.
right? So you'll be,
Cancellation.
so that's gonna be canceled? Okay.
Yeah.
And so again, and we'll get word out as soon as
Tomorrow.
possible tomorrow. So we'll get that.
Right.
Right. I'll work on that right now. Okay.
Beautiful. All right,
That's it.
guys, thank you very much for all the hard work. Sorry, I'm not in town because traditionally we go out for a drink afterwards, but next time I'm in town, I promise. Chairman's
There
buying.
you go.
So you,
Take a
so,
rain-
uh,
take a
before-
rain-
before
take a
we
rain
end,
check.
so the deal
Go
is
ahead.
you're going to check with the authorities as to whether this was.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Good.
check. to-
Legit, yes.
and-
Yeah, I just wanna
And
check.
if it's not, you will send out a notice to us.
Yes,
Okay.
right. Yeah, yeah. If
Alright.
they. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, that wasn't him. Yeah, I'll check real quick with, you know. with the-
Yeah,
sure
I'm
we'll
just
be
trying to
fine.
figure out housekeeping. I want to pay attention to
Yeah, I'll check.
text
with the,
messages or whatever.
Yeah, I'll check with Tom Hennick in the morning and then,
So if there is a meeting tomorrow, it's at 7 or 8?
Well,
We need 24 hours.
so, yeah, we could probably get it. I mean, if we, definitely by 7:30, but we might even be able to get done sooner. Let me, did you guys adjourn yet? No. Okay, I don't want to stop it.
Not yet.
Okay.
Any more housekeeping? We have the floor.
All right,
that's all I
now
have.
can I have a motion?
Steve Kirsch, motion to
No more
adjourn.
housekeeping? Good,
No, Ken said no more.
excellent
housekeeping.
job. Thanks all.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Budget.
Let's get it passed. Thanks.
Yep.